Hey everyone, happy Easter. It's Grandmaster Ben Finegold. Well, I've gotten a lot of requests for this video, so I guess I'll show it. Um, this will be one of the few videos I don't show from my point of view because I want you to see the winning side. This will probably be my most watched video ever, and I mean ever. I don't mean like until now. I mean until I die, because this is my game with Magnus Carlsen that was played in the Pro Chess League last month when we became victorious. In general, if this person was under 2450, I'd probably assume that they were cheating since he made all computer moves. But since it's Magnus, I'll give him a break. Although Magnus didn't do very well in the Pro Chess League until he played our team, then he went 4-0. But I guess world champion, even though he's not the best player in the world, has to play well occasionally. And he beat Wesley after we already wrapped up the match, so I guess that's okay. Anyway, the fact that the game was 25 minutes, I guess it wasn't 25 minutes. It was so long ago I forgot. Since the game was a 15-minute game, and I had the black pieces, and my opponent was 28-30 FIDE, and he played like a computer every move, I guess it's understandable that I lost. Also, I made quite a bad move in the opening. Now, when this game was shown live, unfortunately, they had Rufus and Doofus doing the commentary, a.k.a. Danny Wrench, and they were explaining how Magnus blundered in the opening when nothing like that happened. But, okay, you can't expect any good chess analysis unless, I guess it's Peter Lako or Peter Svidler. So if your name's not Peter, I guess you should give up chess. Okay, so Magnus played d4. Again, this game was played about a month ago in the last match of the Pro Chess League between the St. Louis Archbishops and the Norway Gnomes. Okay, so I was black, and Magnus played a kind of London system. And in this position, he played c4, which a lot of people thought was a blunder. Of course, the stronger players know it's not a blunder. In fact, the move that I played in this position is not the most popular move. The most popular move is c6, which gives black about an equal game. Okay, but I took the knight on b1. And Magnus had his first think of the game. I guess he wasn't familiar with this line. Most people take with the rook here, and then after bishop check, play king e2. I think what Magnus did was better. He took with the queen, and that way he had d1 for his king. And you may wonder, why is d1 better than e2? Well, the king on d1 doesn't block the bishop on f1, so, the c4 pawn's defended. If you play knight to d2, that could be quite risky because you're pinning your knight, and knight e4 just wins, so you can't do that. Okay, so right now the commentators were convincing the spectators that I had a good position because whites play king d1. If you've watched my Pro Chess League games or any of my other games, you'll know that with black I move my king everywhere. I'm always moving my king. In fact, one of my videos that I made about a month and a half ago where I beat Tatev Abrahamian in a GM tournament, I played king e2, king f2 in the opening, and it was prep. So often you move your king in the opening. Obviously, it's a general principle that you would prefer to castle, but when you get high-rated enough, you know when to break the principles. Now, black has two issues here. One is white has the two bishops, and the other is the bishop on b4 can get trapped. For example, if white plays c5, black better get his bishop out of b4. So I tried to solve both of those problems with bishop to d6. So I thought we would trade bishops at some point, and thereby he wouldn't have the two bishops, and I wouldn't get my bishop trapped. And again, Magnus played slightly unusually here. His queen takes b1 is a little unusual. He played bishop g5, which keeps the two bishops and pins my knight. And now, I don't want to say this is the losing move, but it might be. It's a really bad move. I made two bad moves this game. One I don't blame myself at all, but this one I do. I should just play solid here. Knight bd7, c6, castles. Position's about equal. I put all my pawns on white squares, and my white square bishop is gone. And I'm probably about a tempo ahead of normal theory in these kinds of positions because, Magnus's king is in the center. Queen on b1 is a little funny. He's played bishop f4 and bishop g5. So it shouldn't be that bad for black. So either knight bd7 or c6, something boring. And obviously in a boring position, what chance does Magnus have against me? Okay, so I decided, since my opponent's king was on d1, we had to punish him. But I ended up only punishing myself. So I played c5. It made sense to me with my queen on d8 and his king on d1, we should open up the center. And c5 is a pretty bad move because my knight on f6 is pinned, so my center is basically collapsing. So he took on d5. I can't take with the knight since my knight's pinned, so I took back. And he played bishop b5 check. And this is funny. I could actually move my king here, although it's probably not very good. So I played knight c6. And again, I thought this was totally normal. But unfortunately, he's just crushing me down the c file because of the pin on my knight. He takes on c5. And here I definitely made a move after which I'm losing. The best move, which I don't really blame myself for not playing, is bishop to e7. And then I'm down a pawn, and hopefully I'll win back the c-pawn later, hopefully. But bishop e7 is pretty safe. I'm just down a pawn with his king on d1, and I have chances to win it back. But of course I just took back. And now I'm definitely losing because the pressure on the c-file is too strong. So c5 was definitely a mistake, trying to punish the king on d1. It just doesn't work. And he played bishop takes c6 check. And again, if I was playing a lower rated player, that's the kind of move that I would suspect a computer user of playing, because it seems to me more obvious to play queen c2 than to take a knight that's pinned. But actually, the computer prefers bishop c6 because after queen c2, queen b6, I could take back on c6 with a queen, and I wouldn't have a weak pawn on c6 later like I did in the game. So bishop c6 is actually more accurate. This is why Magnus is the world champion, and I'm some guy sitting on my couch watching two terrible NBA teams play in the first round of the playoffs, fighting for the MVP, and you're at home, I don't know what you're doing because it's probably against the law. But anyway, Magnus is Magnus, and we are who we are, and yeah, that's the way life goes. Okay, so white played bishop c6, bc6, queen c2, and I can't stop the pressure on the c file. I just lose material. And unfortunately, my position collapses when I lose my c-pawn because my d-pawn is weak. King on d1 is of no consequence. It's nothing wrong with his king on d1. Okay, and again, if Ken West was playing white, the king would be excellent on d1 because white could still castle either way, as has been shown in Ken West's practice. Okay. So I played bishop e7. It doesn't really matter if I defend my bishop with my queen because he can always play rook c1 at some point. Probably he would preface that with bishop takes f6. I'll just give you a sample variation. Queen d6. I can't take with the queen because my queen is busy defending my bishop, so I have to take with the pawn. Rook c1, and I'm going to lose a pawn, and my pawn structure is suspicious to say the least. Okay, so I played bishop e7. And king f8, obviously I can't play queen d7 because my rook's hanging in the corner. So I move my king too. Yay, I'm just as good as Magnus. Okay, rook c1. Again, if I was playing a weaker player, that's sort of a computer move because I think a normal person would play king e2 and put his rooks in the center and not leave his king on d1 so long. But rook c1 is very accurate because it stops you from playing rook c8. So basically every move that Magnus played this game after bishop g5 was the first choice of any supercomputer. So not only does he have a very strong position, but he's always playing the best moves. And Magnus played really quickly also, probably quicker than a computer would play, proving that he's not doing anything illegal. Okay, so I played h6. Again, this move surprised me, but it's the computer move. I thought he would move his bishop somewhere, but he took on f6. Timing is important here. If he can get his rook to d1 quickly, get his king to e2, he's going to win my d-pawn. So this was actually very nice. Okay, I took my pawn back because I don't want to be a pawn down. I'm losing my d-pawn probably. I don't want to be 2 pawns down. Rook c2, rook d1. I can't save my d-pawn. So I traded queens because my king isn't very good and his queen's better than mine. So I thought in the endgame my king would be okay. So I'm sort of down a pawn, and you would think I have drawing chances, but his rooks are better than mine. My a-pawn's weaker than his a-pawn because he can attack my a-pawn, and my bishop on f6 can't attack anything. If I can make 2 or 3 moves in a row and get my pieces out, king e7, move my rook to the center, then I'd have some drawing chances. But okay, as it is, I'm not quick enough. Rook c7 check, and rook d7, and my king's in a mating net. Of course, I don't have to get mated, but if my opponent doubles his rooks on the 7th, that's not so good. And if my king is hiding on g8, blocking my rook on h8, that's not really a good long-term plan. So I have to play king e7 to get my rook out. It doesn't work, but if my rook's on h8 the whole game, that's silly. Okay, and now he plays rook d7, and my king is in a mating net. Yeah, there's not really much I can do here. I'm just losing. Okay, I played rook h to b8 to play rook b2 check, try to get my pawn back. And he played the excellent move e4. And the idea is he wants to play e5. And then once he plays e5, not only is he attacking my bishop, but my bishop isn't controlling d4 anymore because his pawn is blocking it. And then knight d4 is made. So, yeah, e4 is a very strong move. It also defends the rook on d5 in case he wants to, do some fancy stuff. Okay, I checked. He didn't care about his pawns because he's mating me. King d3. Another very obvious threat, which I didn't mention because I didn't see it, is just rook d6 mate. So he's threatening mate, and he's threatening this, slower mate. Okay, I played rook b6, stopping rook d6 mate. He played e5. Now, with the dual threats of taking my bishop on f6 and knight d4 mate, I have to resign because I'm going to lose a bishop for nothing. So a very good game by Magnus, and also pretty funny because when the game was being shown live, a lot of people thought he blundered because he had to move his king in the opening, and that was exacerbated by Danny Wrench explaining that he blundered and putting it on Twitter and making these big announcements. I got a lot of funny texts and Facebook messages from my friends saying, ooh, he blundered, when they're just kidding. Yeah, so that was my game with Magnus. I'd never played him even in a blitz game. I've talked to him at the Singfield Cup a few times. And we've actually showed each other some chess stuff, but I never actually played him again. I was unfortunate that in the Pro Chess League, when I say it's unfortunate for me, but it's good for the team. I always get black against the best player on the other team. That's sort of the way the pairings worked out. I'm not really sure why that is. But it seemed like every match I played, I would always get white the first game against the second best player, then black against the best player. Then I would get white against their lowest rated player, then black against the third highest rated player. That was like every match. I don't know why. And so for me, I'm playing MVL, and I'm playing Caruana, and I'm playing Magnus, and I'm playing Dreyev, I'm playing Mamedyarov, and I'm always black. I got black against all the best players in the league when I played their board 1. And luckily I didn't lose every game. It's actually probably better if I have black since I'm not going to do well against their best player. So we might as well give Wesley So some whites. I think Wesley got white almost every game against those guys, although he did have black against Mamedyarov, and he lost in 1,000 moves. But he generally had white, which didn't help him against Magnus. Magnus just played fantastic on Sunday, which was needed because his teammates weren't very helpful. Magnus got 4 points, and his teammates got 3 points. So for those of you that are challenged, that's 7 points. And we got 9, so we won 9-7 the last match. More interesting match from a competitive point of view was our match with the Montreal Chess Bras, where we won in triple overtime. I guess it was double overtime. It took 3 matches to win. The first match was 8-8. We were losing the whole way, and we tied it up. Then the second match, which was a blitz match, was also 8-8. We were also losing the whole way, and we tied it up. And then we won the final blitz match, which was just one round, 3-1. And I drew the first game against Eric Hansen, and then I lost 5 games in a row, including 2 to Fabiano Caruana. Then luckily I won my last 3 games. So we actually had to play 9 games that match, each of us, to finally get ahead. So that was very fortuitous, and also it was very interesting for the spectators because the Pro Chess League was always played on a Wednesday, and for us in St. Louis, it was played Wednesday night, but the semifinals and finals were played Saturday and Sunday on one weekend. So I was here at my home in Atlanta playing Saturday and Sunday against the world's best players, and In my whole life, I've never played in any kind of important chess players that strong. I've played blitz chess and chess for fun and blitz tournaments, but not in the pro chess league where thousands of people are watching and the first prize is $20,000 and you're on a team and you're playing the top 10 players in the world. That was a first for me. And at the age of 47, that was very interesting. I played a lot of good players, but generally they weren't at their best when I played them. I've played rated chess against Anand and Karawan and Nakamura and other strong grandmasters, but at the time I played them, they weren't top 5, top 10 in the world. In fact, Fabiano was 11 years old. But here I was playing the best of the best, and usually I had black, which I guess was good for my teammates. And I didn't lose all of my games. I beat Mamadrov one game, as you know, and I drew Dreyev one game. So against the number one player on the other teams, I didn't lose every game. And, well, we were very lucky that Nicholas Rosenthal had such a good year. Wesley So had a good year. And Var and I got points when we had to. So it's sort of a good team that we had. We sort of meshed overall, although I couldn't really compete very well in this game, as you can see. Okay, so hope you like this video. I'll try to make daily videos again. And you guys got to keep donating because I played Magnus. Go to hclchessclub.com/donate and have a happy Easter, everybody. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.